Red Zone Sports Ante. Wham, bam, thank you, Uncle Sam.
We're back. Welcome to the very first edition of Upping the Ante for the new National Hunt season with myself, David Jennings, and my esteemed colleague, Mr. Gavin Lynch. How are you, Gavin?
Dave, how are you?
Yes, we're back. It's mid-November, but the Cheltenham Festival, the countdown has begun. And thanks to RedZone.bet, Upping the Ante is back, Gavin. Cheltenham, are you looking forward to it already?
Yeah, sure. It's great to have the National Hunt season back.
Absolutely. Now, before we look ahead to the 2019 Cheltenham Festival, let's relive those brilliant moments from the 2018 festival. And Gavin, what a festival you had. 16 antepost selections, 4 winners. If our viewers of Upping the Ante had a tenner on each one of your 16 selections, they would have been £200 or euro better off by the end of the festival. You had Footpad in the Racing Post Arkle at 5-1. You had Tiger Roll in the cross country chase at 12-1. Lorena 3-1 in the Mayor's Novice Hurdle, and Ratvinden at 12-1 in the National Hunt Chase. Gavin, that is a tasty return.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It was a good festival for punters. The first 2 days, Tuesday and Wednesday, were fantastic. Loads of fancied horses won. I was over there on the Friday, gave back a good bit of my profit on the Friday, but
it's the taking part that counts, Gavin.
It is, yeah. But Tuesday and Wednesday were great for punters. You did very well too. You won a 100 quid.
Yes, 13 selections. I didn't have as many as Gavin. I had 2 winners out of the 13, and when you mightn't think that's great, those 2 winners were Presenting Percy in the RSA at 11-1, and also Balco de Flo. Yes, he did win the Ryanair. It's hard to believe looking at him at Down Royal, but Balco de Flo won the Ryanair at 10-1. So if you had a tenner on each one of my selections, you would have been 100 quid better off by the end of the festival, and there was plenty of people who weren't 100 quid better off by the end of the festival.
You won't go poor if you keep making a profit.
No, you certainly won't. Now, obviously the National Hunt season, we're starting to accelerate into top gear. It's been a slow start with ground and everything, but this weekend, the weekend just passed, we did see plenty of clues, and we're going to start off talking a little bit about the Champion Hurdle. We were hoping to see the first real Champion Hurdle trial of the year. Unfortunately, no Sabcro, no Super Sunday, and basically no fine.
No, and sure, Sharjah's not going to win the Champion Hurdle, is it? It'll be interesting when the Fighting Fifth comes along, because it looks like Somerville Boy, Sam Crumbover there all might show up in Newcastle. I looked at a few of last year's videos in prep for this morning, and I couldn't believe that Somerville Boy managed to win the Supreme with the mistake he made 2 out. He lost his hind legs and everything, so he's definitely a danger. Personally, I wouldn't be in the Sam Crow camp for the Champion Hurdle.
Oh, really? Our first clash of the year?
I wouldn't be into him at all.
Why? Tell me why now.
I think he's a fantastic horse. I think maybe he's a chaser. I don't know if he's the same hurdling technique as some of his rivals will. I think 2 miles a bit short for him, and good ground possibly on the Tuesday. If it was soft ground, he'd have a chance, but I hope I'm wrong because I love the horse, but I just think maybe the Champion Hurdle's not his thing.
Okay, so we're mid-November.
Do you fancy him?
I do. I think Sam Crow, I think he gets bad press. People say, what did he do at Cheltenham in the Ballymore? I thought he was brilliant in the Ballymore. I think Black Op is a very good horse. I think Next Destination is a good horse. And I thought he blew them away with pace coming down the hill.
Now, the race in Down Royal was a bit of a farce. Possibly they went too quick and stuff. So he's probably,
I think you will see a different Sam Crow. Wherever it is, I'm not too sure. So here's your Champion Hurdle betting with RedZone.bet. 5-2 Bouver there, 4-1 Sam Crow, 11-2 Lorena, 17-2 Mellon, 12-1 Somerville Boy, and 16-1 Bar. Free tenner right now. Who do you back?
Somerville Boy.
12-1?
Yep.
Okay, my free tenner is on Sam Crow at 4-1. Now we also saw potentially a Champion Chase candidate over the weekend. Sco Royal won the slower chase at Cheltenham. Impressed?
So. It doesn't matter. Altior wins the Champion Chase. I was having a look again this morning that I can't believe that Altior's not the top rated chaser in racing.
What?
He's rated 175 officially on the website I looked at, and Native River's rated 176, which is strange to me. Wow. To me, Altior is definitely the best horse in training. Absolutely. And he'll win the Champion Chase.
Would you like to see Altior in the King George?
Love to see it. I think he'd win because every time you see him over 2 miles, it's only in the last furlong he gets going. He looks in trouble, 3 out, 4 out, and he definitely stay 2.5 anyway.
Apparently, the only horse that can work with Altior at home is Brainpower. Do you remember him?
I've heard of him. Yeah, you like him?
Yeah, no, we've fallen out many's a time. So Sco Royal, no, 12-1 at the moment for the Champion Chase. You'd be advising viewers to leave that 12-1 alone.
You just back Altior or you back nothing, I'd say.
Okay. Now, one horse I want to talk about because I think he could be a superstar. Commander Fleet. Is he the Ballymore winner in rating?
No.
In waiting. Is he the new Sam Crow?
I don't think so. I wasn't that impressed with him.
Tell me why.
Now, it's only his first run, but I thought he just jumped a bit sketchy. He looked a bit just wasn't impressive visually anyway.
Okay, so
It's
he's
a bit early to say, but I wouldn't be into him now.
currently 14-1 favourite for the Ballymore. 18-1 Blackbow, 18-1 Carefully Selected, Danny Kerwin 18-1, Envoy Allen, the big talking horse from the Gordon Elliott stable. Is he as good as Malone Road, who we're going to talk about later on? Only time will tell, but Commander Fleet 14-1, no interest.
No.
Okay, so what I want you to tell me now is we're about 6 weeks really into the season. What horses have enhanced their Cheltenham claims in the past 6 weeks?
And also a few that maybe that haven't. Just made a small list. Apple's Jade has definitely improved her chances for Cheltenham. Her performance at Cheltenham and again in Punchestown were very, very ordinary. They're saying that she was in season and she wasn't herself. And in Navan, she looked back to her best, didn't she? She won very, very well, so she could be hard to beat. She jumped out to her right a little bit, but she always does anyway. Tiger Roll, who ran there on Friday in the cross country in Cheltenham, where you were for your stag, I thought it was a grand run. You got the vibes. It drifted in the bet, and perhaps it wasn't fully fit.
I think that's the best way to describe it. Grand. Just grand.
Yeah, just grand, yeah. But the one thing you'd say about Tiger Roll is that he generally just wins in the springtime. And it was a handicap. He was giving a lot of weight away. It probably wasn't the best race in the world, but Tiger Roll ran a grand race. Saldier and Nace was one horse that kind of caught my eye a little bit. Again, it's at a time of the season where some of Willie's maybe aren't fully fit. He possibly would have beaten Esperdal, and I would have said it was a half length up jump.
I would change possibly to definitely.
Yeah, definitely, maybe. Ballyosheen was fantastic in Avon. I don't know if you've seen it, but
I was there, Gavin.
yeah, it's just to watch horses like that jumping fences is magic, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought Barry Geraghty talking afterwards was brilliant. He said, just one of these horses, you just have to roll with it and just hope for the best.
Like the first 4 fences down the back, he was just winging fences. So he probably won't win at Cheltenham, but he's just fantastic to watch. Lawler, who we'll speak about later on, I was very, very impressed with him yesterday. Kalashnikov obviously was very impressive in Warwick. They'll be against each other probably in the Arkle. Epitant is a mare that won in Kempton.
Oh, love that.
Yeah, she was quite keen, but she was very impressive. And you'd have to say the Road to Respect certainly enhanced his Gold Cup chances with his easy win of the Jane Wine Chase. He got beaten it last year, whereas this year he won it very easily.
Very impressive. Now we've got Kane Calvin from our sponsors, RedZone.bet, and we've got a few questions for him. And the first of those, Gavin, is, and I'm really interested to know the answer to this, what was the worst result of the 2018 Cheltenham Festival for RedZone.bet?
That would be Gordon Elliott's The Storyteller in the handicap chase on the Thursday. We had laid it at 12s and 10s a couple of weeks prior, when this race became the obvious choice for its multiple entries. We laid more money again on the day and it was 5-1 when it won. Consider its next 2 runs were in Grade 1s, including a victory. We never really had a chance. Another horse that really hurt us was Lorena. When a horse with that profile runs for Willie Mullins, you know it's going to be short. But the money just kept on coming. And while the 4-7 SP doesn't sound too horrific, the volume and the bigger prices leading up to the day all added up. And it was in every multiple too. So yeah, that really hurt us.
So the Storyteller, I could have had 10, 15 goes at that. I never would have got the Storyteller. And the second question for you, Kane, is, at the moment, who has been the best backed horse for the 2019 Cheltenham Festival?
So the season only really got started properly this weekend, so we haven't seen bundles for anything, especially as there are no standout performances. We did lay quite a bit of Sam Crow for the Champion Hurdle prior to his reappearance a couple of weeks ago. We're reasonably happy with his position now. He's obviously a hugely talented horse, but we're not sure this race will be his forte. And on top of that, Bouvedere still sets a really high standard. Elsewhere, we've got some liability on presenting Percy for the Gold Cup. People love horses who have won at the festival before, and they're always taken by an Irish superstar. And then looking forward to this weekend, there's some good racing at Ascot and Haydock coming up, including the Betfair Chase, which should certainly shake up the Gold Cup market.
It certainly will be all shook up, Gavin. Gavin, in one word, what wins the 2019 Cheltenham Gold Cup?
It depends on ground.
One word, Gavin.
Good ground might bite, bad ground, Native River again.
Okay, there's 9 words. In one word, I will go for might bite. Is that one word? No. Okay, folks, we are moving on to our Twitter questions. So we've got questions as popular as Up in the Ante is. We've got loads of Twitter questions. So the first one is Malone Road for the champion bumper.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, was I allowed just one word there, was I? Or?
We're going to come to Malone Road later in the show, and Gavin has got some fascinating stats on Malone Road. You have to stay tuned because Gavin has very important stuff to say about Malone Road. Second question, it's like a Malone Road loving. Malone Road looks something special. What does Gavin think? That comes from @Swadlad.
Special, definitely.
We'll find out just how special in a couple of moments. From @FIFA 210342. Who wins the Triumph Hurdle, Gavin?
Go away. Not talking about the Triumph Hurdle till next February.
Yeah, Triumph.
There's 2 races to avoid at Cheltenham: is the Triumph Hurdle and the Bartlett.
Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. At FIFA. At Adam D17, next destination is a horse who must have a huge future over a trip. Any advice on his likely spring targets? I'd be shocked if it's not the RSA.
It has to be the RSA. He's too slow for the JLT. You saw him in the Ballymore last year. He was going out the back of the television and then stayed on well to be third, but he'll definitely go for the JL or the RSA. And it's interesting, the 3 horses that got beat at Cheltenham are at the top of the market for that race is Santini, Black Up and Next Destination. They all went on to win Grade 1s at Aintree and Punchestown, but yeah, no, he'll definitely go for the RSA.
And Ruby Walsh did say in an open day at Willie Mullins earlier on in the season, I got the impression that he was his chaser to follow. He thinks he's every inch a chaser. And
yeah, he's a fine big horse. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you mentioned 3 horses there, and you haven't even mentioned the winner of the RSA. That is, of course, top of the game. So moving on to at Lee Kelly 1. Thinks Lawler is a very neat and quick jumper and is the best novice for the Arkle, which has raced yet this season. What does Gavin think?
I agree. I thought he was fantastic yesterday. Again, we're going to chat about him later on.
And it's time.
For a reason.
The time has come for our first antepost selections for the 2019 Cheltenham Festival. This is why people tune in, Gavin. We've just been talking gibberish for the first 10 minutes. This is the bit they want, okay? So moving on to our selections. It starts right here. It starts right now. Here is Gavin Lynch's first fancy for the 2019 Cheltenham Festival. It is, of course, Malone Road. What a performance.
It seems unfair that he's going to run against horses because he's a jet, isn't he? I have a couple of boring facts. Can I bore you for a moment?
Gavin, the more boring you are, the more I love you.
This is really nerdy. In Down Royal, the time of his race was 4:24, right? The handicap hurdle was 4 minutes, so they absolutely crawled. But from crossing the road in the bumper, he took 25 seconds to get to the line. And earlier, Golden Spear, who's only carrying 10 stone 4, he took 30 seconds to get to the line. So the horse has gears. Like he was carrying 11:11.
And you have a stopwatch.
Yeah, I do, on the phone. Also, when he won there in Punchestown yesterday, the time of his race was 3:46. Sharjah was 3:47. The handicap hurdle was 4 minutes. So for a 4-year-old on second ever start to beat Sharjah's time by a second, even though he was carrying £3 less, that's a fantastic time.
Wow.
And you have to remember Sharjah, there was a couple of hurdles they took out as well. So.
It was like a flat race.
And they went fast in the Morgiana. Like
yes.
Fine was flat out. So that was a very fast time.
So visually, we're looking at Malone Road and we are blown away. Yeah. And we have the facts to back up the performance.
It's not just, it wasn't an average performance, it was a brilliant performance.
And there's 2 things to note here. 1, we know he goes on good ground. And 2, he's definitely going for the race.
Yeah, he goes there next. Anybody who's going to back him, which I have, I hope he doesn't run in the Dublin Racing Festival. It'd be great if he did go straight there.
Now, we see the betting here, 11-2 favourite Malone Road, but, and this is a very big but, for Red Zone .bet punters, you can get 8-1 Malone Road for the champion bumper.
8-1's a fantastic price. Like
it is enhanced because of Upping the Ante and because this is Gavin Lynch's first selection of the show. Red Zone .bet have been very, very generous, and they are offering 8-1 enhancement about Malone Road in the Cheltenham bumper. Should people be taking that?
Yeah, no, I'll definitely open an account today and back that.
Yes, Gavin Lynch's first tip. It is Malone Road. And just because it's the first show of the new series, we're going to give you 2. So you have 1 more. What is your second selection for this week? You'll have obviously more throughout the year. What is your second selection for this week?
The second one is Lawler, who won over fences yesterday in Cheltenham. He won a Grade 2 bumper in Aintree in April 17. He won the Grade 1 novice hurdle over 2 miles in Aintree 8 months ago. He's a fine big horse, so bumpers and hurdles weren't his cup of tea. So they put him straight into a Grade 2 yesterday. He beat 2 horses, Dynamite Dollars and Claimant Taken Forgan, who'd already won over fences. So to go straight into a Grade 2, the way he jumped was fantastic. He's a fine big chaser. He stayed on up the hill. He bolted up. The time was quite good. It was only a couple of seconds behind So Royal. It's great for the connections to Cayley, Woolacott. Obviously, it's very sad that Richard is no longer with us, but it's great for that yard to have such a good horse. But to me, his jumping was fantastic. Kalashnikov was impressive in Warwick, but I think Lawler was more impressive.
Okay, and that means at Lee Kelly 1, who thinks Lawler is very neat and a quick jumper and is the best novice for the Arkle, which has raced this season. Yeah, what does Gavin think? Yeah. You think he's right?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
At the moment, who would have thought this time last week, that Lawler would be the 5-1 favourite for the Racing Post Arkle? Kalashnikov 11-2, Sam Crow 12-1, Mengley Khan 12-1, Mellon 14-1, Paloma Blue 18-1, Get a Bird 18-1. And Lorena is also 18
Some
to
of them
1.
won't go there, but that's you know that.
Absolutely. But we have another enhancement. 5 to 1 Lawler has now become 7 to 1 Lawler. 7 to 1 Lawler for the Racing Post Arkle for redzone.bet clients. Again, Gavin, that's a really good enhancement.
It's 7 to 1 looks fantastic value. As you said, some of them won't run, so.
Now, it is a very good enhancement, but unfortunately, it is a losing enhancement because my first selection is also in the Racing Post Arkle Novices Chase. And it is the one and only Paloma Blue. Now, just listen, I know you fancy Lawler, but I'm going to make a couple of very valid points here, okay?
Yep.
First of all, it's 18 to 1 because it hasn't ran yet this season, okay?
Yep.
I think this will win a beginner's chase, possibly at Punchestown on the 28th of November.
Okay.
Henry loves to go to Punchestown with his horses first time out over fences. He did it with Size in Europe. Same with Size and John. I think Paloma Blue could go to Punchestown. I think he'll win comfortably. And I think then, like Lawler, he could be a single figure price for the Arkle. Don't forget, he was in a different league to Lawler over hurdles. He was rated 149. Sizing John, after chasing home Duvan in the Supreme Novice Hurdle, was only rated 151. So he's only rated £2 lower than Sizing John was when he went over fences. I thought when he ran against Sam Crow in the Delight Novice Hurdle, he finished third to Sam Crow. He's the only horse to go with Sam Crow, I thought, to the last that day. He had Whiskey Sour, Sharjah, Larichburg behind, roll on to Cheltenham, over probably on that ground, over that trip. I just thought they just got away from him a little bit in the Supreme Novice Hurdle. He was beaten 3 lengths by Somerville Boy. He was less than 3 lengths behind Kalashnikov. Kalashnikov is 11 to 2 for the Arkle. Paloma Blue, the enhancement price is 18 to 1. I spoke to Henry de Bromhead just this morning about Paloma Blue, and I said, Henry, I have bad news. I said Paloma Blue is going to be my anti-post fancy for the Arkle. And he said, a stop clock is right twice a day. So his schooling has been brilliant. I think he could be a star over fences. I think 18 to 1 is huge. So Paloma Blue will be my first selection for the 2019 Cheltenham Festival. So to wrap up, Gavin, your 2 selections again?
Lawler and Malone Road.
Lawler and Malone Road for the 2019 Cheltenham Festival, and of course mine is Paloma Blue. So we're taking each other on very early in this series, Gavin.
Yep.
Only time will tell. So that's it, folks. That's it for the first episode of our new series of Upping the Ante in association with redzone.bet. I've been David Jennings. He's been Gavin Lynch. Do not forget our enhancements. 18 to 1 Paloma Blue for the Racing Post Arkle, 7 to 1 Lawler for the Racing Post Arkle, and of course 8 to 1 Malone Road for the Champion Bumper. They're the enhancements. They last till Saturday. Get on.
RedZoneSports.bet. Wham, bam. Thank you, Uncle Sam.